Hey, welcome to the segment. We just saw the Hunger Games. No, wait. Divergent. No, wait. The Maze Runner. That's it. Maze Runner, the Scorch Trials.
The Scorch Trials.
And we're going to tell you about it. This is our spoiler-free review. We're going to do a spoiler one and a spoiler-free. So if you haven't seen the movie, you're safe here watching this.
Correct.
What'd you think?
Superb sets. Great action. It's a good film, but I think it's... for our age group, because we're kind of getting up there a few years, it's a little tougher. I think if you were 16 or 25, it's a brilliant film. Yeah,
I'm definitely noticing that I am definitely out of that demographic now.
Exactly.
I mean, it is not even close. And I'm trying to think what movies I would have seen in the 90s when I was a teenager that would have been like that. I don't know, is this like a... I feel like this is kind of a new... I think this may have started off with Harry Potter. With it seems like a new kind of deal, like reaching this... I mean, obviously there's always been movies for teens, but this seems like specific in a major way.
Well, I think so, and I think they found their market, because that's a very profitable market. Let's be honest, those are the people that have got the money now. Parents is a little tougher, right? But they are supporting them, and we went to the theatre tonight to watch it, and it was packed. Let's be honest, Thursday night, and it's full. Very strange. So obviously it's working, and a lot of young people, which is nice to see, going to the theatre. Great to take your kids to, and you'll be entertained. And it's safe to take them to.
There's definitely a lot of stuff moving around on the screen.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it'll keep your attention.
Oh yeah.
And I found little enjoyment in it myself, but I could tell that it definitely was a good movie for what it was.
Yeah, and I think the sets really helped to embellish. I mean, we're not going to do any spoilers, but just incredible. Actually,
it definitely had a movie look, and it's really good to see that after after last week. And there's been a lot of movies in September, especially, that have just not really deserved the title necessarily of movie, but this definitely had a big cinematic feel.
Oh, definitely, and I think it was well cast. And there's a lot of young people in it, of course, which is the demographic again they're going after. But the adults in the film did well as well. I thought they carried it. It was definitely, for me, it's going to be, and I don't score terribly well, but 7 out of 10, I think, would have been a fair score, because they did a lot of good things. I mean, it was entertaining. It's just, and you're very cynical, and I tend not to be.
Well, I'm all about the logic in a movie, the story, the plot, and I think this entire series is flawed from the very beginning on just some basic principles of, for example, if you could make the maze and make several of them, and they're farming in the maze, and it's green in the maze and stuff, it's like, why not just make some of those and live in them and not worry about the scorch. But
that's cool.
So coming into it that way, I keep having to try to lose myself in the movie, and it becomes very hard at that point, because you want to suspend your disbelief, and I think with it being set on Earth, obviously, and with it being humans and stuff, they're not using human logic.
Well, we're assuming it's on Earth.
What was that?
We assume it's on Earth.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. If they would have said it was on a different planet, then I could be like, okay, maybe they just don't think enough to... Because, I mean, think about building that... Just the one maze we saw in the first movie, what kind of undertaking that would be. It's basically bigger than anything built on Earth today. It's like building the Great Wall of China, and they did that in an apocalypse wasteland. They built that. Like, if you could do that.
Because the builders were a union. So
yeah, I guess. Yeah, it was union workers. So happy Labor Day and everything. But
exactly.
So, it's just a lot of... and then there's a lot of things, and this isn't spoilers, but there was a lot of times in the movie where... things were far away, for example, and then they start running, and then all of a sudden they're there, and I mean like miles and miles away, and then it's just like, dang, they run fast. There's little things like that obviously, like the people that are in the movie, if you're a fan of the series, you're not going to notice that. However, we did talk to some fans that had read the books.
Yes, we did,
and a few of them were upset.
I agree. But then, you know, a book translation to a movie is always difficult. You know, when people ask me, well, you know, I really enjoyed the book, why didn't I enjoy the film? And just to give you an overview, and I'm not trying to tell you I know everything, but I can help you a little bit, is when you write, and I've written some books and not published, but I've written them, when you're developing a character, and maybe where they live, that might take 27 pages just to talk about his idiosyncrasies, where they live, you know, the way everything goes on in the house. So that takes 27 pages just to develop something where, you know, you get your camera out and you go, there you are, okay, 1, 2, I'm bored already, what am I going to do with the camera? So you get 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and then you have to say he's grumpy. So he gives the expression. So what can you really do? And then you show his house is cluttered or amazing, lives in a mansion. That is cinema photography is hard to make 27 pages because when you're reading it, your interpretation of the character might be me, and they cast you. And I'm thinking, well, what happened there? You know. So our minds will allow us to foster who we want and how they live and how we perceive them. And then when actually they're cast and the person's in front of you, said, well, that's not the person, because it's our interpretation. So that's the problem between a book, I think, and a film. That's
a good reason not to ever read a book. Enjoy movies, don't read books.
Well, no,
enjoy movies.
If I can give a piece of advice, and it is only my opinion, I like to watch the film or the show if it's already been made and then go and read the book.
Yeah, because you know what people look like too.
Well, no, exactly. Then I know that Thomas looks like this and Peter looks like this and so on. And it just makes it easier for me. To do it the other way around is, I think you're punishing yourself. Okay. But I understand why you read books, because I love to read. So I get it.
And, you know, part of the storytelling that may have been different from the book that was literally starting to really annoy me in this movie. Okay. There's a lot of spoiler. This is not a spoiler. There's a lot of times in movies and during the exposition in which you know, like they'll get interrupted or something, or they won't explain something right. They'll play coy to help build tension and not give everything away. About every third line of dialogue in this movie was somebody explaining something halfway and leaving it hanging. I mean, it just as an example, and this isn't an example from the movie because it's not spoilers, but for an example, it might be like, oh, I just remembered something. What did you remember? Well, let's go over here first. You know, and it's just like, what? Like, just say what's going on. Like, but it happened from the beginning to the end of this film, over and over and over, to a point where it just got ridiculous that these people weren't speaking like normal people.
Well, I think they, you know, typically of what goes on today, people don't finish their sentences. Maybe that's part of what it is.
I know, but you don't leave me. I wouldn't leave you hanging. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it was stuff like that, like the whole movie from beginning. I would expect that towards the beginning, or maybe even if there was like a reason. A lot of times, like, oh, I'm going to tell you this, and then an explosion. That happened a few times, but then a lot of times it was just like, come with me. Why? I have to show you this. What? Just come with me. It's like, just tell them what it is.
Yes, tell us. Yeah, and the other thing is, you know, when something of impending doom and they stare instead of running, you know, or diving for cover, you know, watching, holding on. I mean, okay, you're going to look back, oh my God, and then you're going to start running. And maybe you stand there in fear, because some people can't run. But for both characters, or 5 characters, or whatever, will stand there and look.
And basically, this review, I know there's probably a lot of fans of the movie that are watching this. Yeah. This is like your dad's reviewing it, though. So we're not putting the movie down whatsoever. Because I think if I had to give it a grade, I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. But I personally did not enjoy it. But I know watching it, there was only one other criticism that I think is a criticism that's for any generation to see. I felt like some of the special effects were a little bit unfinished. There was like, especially like the explosions have that firework look to them. And I've seen like I'll see like a finished movie, and then I'll watch like a documentary on the making of the movie, and the explosions in the documentary, the making of it, where they're just kind of like with like little. Those were like the explosions in this movie. I felt like they didn't finish them or something. And
going back to your point, you know, about understanding why people like it, I know fully that there's going to be a ton of you going to love it. It is a good film. I mean, I give it 7 out of 10. You gave it 8, but But it's well worth watching. I mean, I definitely wouldn't say don't go and watch it. I think it's worth watching. I think it's a little hard intellectually.
It's
but
definitely, I mean, if you have a child between 10 and 18 and you want to spend some time with them as an adult, go see it. But I wouldn't take my wife on a date to go see it. I would say if you're...
I wouldn't take your wife either.
Yeah, exactly, right? But unless you've read the book and you're a fan of that anyways, but it's definitely, if you haven't read the book and you're not into, like, the Hunger Games or Divergent, you are not going to be into this because, like, there was a preview trailer for Divergent.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was the same movie.
I was like, isn't this the movie we're seeing? Oh, wait, no, this is the... Okay. Because
it's hard to tell which one's which, and unless you're really following them, it is a little confusing. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I was actually...
Like when I actually came to this one, when I knew we were going to see this tonight, and I was driving, I was like, is that the one with Kate Winslet? Or is that the... I forget. Like,
I forget who...
Yeah, exactly. But
no, I thought, the lead character, I think his name's Thomas in the show, I thought he did a good job, he's, everybody kind of did well in it, and... The English chap, I think his real name is Thomas, actually. I thought he was kind of interesting. I thought he was, well, no spoilers, so I can't say.
Well, let's do this. Are you ready to get into spoilers? I think we gave the review. It's a recommendation if you're into that type of movie. It's definitely, I think The Hunger Games has a lot more crossover to adults. This one is totally teen. Absolutely. So that's our review of it, 8 and 7, and go see it if you're into that kind of stuff.
I agree.
And click right here to see the spoiler review.
Absolutely.